Welcome to Breaking Solo, how solopreneurs break barriers, build brands, and embrace the future of business.
Hello, everyone. I'm so excited today to have Nicole Compton join us on the podcast. Nicole, share with our audience who you are and what you do.
Hello, everyone. I am attorney Nicole Compton. I'm technically it's Shelton. I recently got married, but everyone knows me by Compton for the last 20-something years. I have my law degree, my MBA in entrepreneurship, and I actually help entrepreneurs and aspiring entrepreneurs to launch businesses that are legally sound and protected, but also profitable. And I do that. A few ways. I'm a executive legal advisor and a business consultant. I teach business owners. I mentor business owners, but I'm also an entrepreneur myself. So technically a serial entrepreneur. I have more than one business. I'm constantly looking for ways to innovate and help my clients use innovation so that they can have businesses that create the lifestyle that they want, still have success, and be able to pull together all of their expertise and their credentials into what they do.
Awesome. That sounds like an exciting career.
It is. There's always something new to learn every day, and in what I do, things change. You have your solid foundational things, but the way that technology is moving, there's always something new to learn, and there's always new opportunities and challenges. And I thrive on that. I love that.
Yeah, I do too. I love to learn. So it's
I tell my grandson on my deathbed, I'm gonna be like, wait a minute, one last book. Okay, I'm good.
That's awesome. Okay, so tell me, what inspired you in the first place to become a solo business owner?
You know what? Honestly, my parents. My dad is a union electrician, and so he had a 9 to 5, but then he had a side business recording audio visuals for conferences. So back in the day when there were VHSs and cassettes, he would reproduce them in real time on scene at different conferences and seminars. And so when he started that business, he and my mom would sit my baby carrier up on the table, which would be a conversation piece. So I was marketing. I was in marketing and being a spokesperson when I was still in diapers. And so having seen that, and then always being a natural problem solver myself, I think my first business was when I was about 8 or 9, and I was tutoring the kindergartner and the first grader that lived next door. And so they would come over and I'd help them with their homework and charge them, you can give me a dime, or, you can give me your extra popsicle. But that was a business and I didn't even know it. So I started pretty young. When I went to college, I had some side hustles because I'm a former teen mom. So I went away to college with a toddler. And so I had to make ends meet and work. And so, I braided hair on the side and things like that. So I've always had that entrepreneurial spirit in me. Graduating from undergrad, I went to become an operations manager at PepsiCo and Frito-Lay after leaving an opportunity at Energizer at Eveready. Corporate America was nice, but having been a teen mom and then at that point being a single mom, entrepreneurship gave me the freedom to be able to be a mother. It gave me the freedom to still work with my clients, but make sure that I was the room mother in my son's school. And unfortunately, a little bit down the road, I've had 2 best friends in my life, and both of them died from cancer, brain cancer. And so to be able to be there for my best friends through their chemo and all their treatments, and, the last one who passed away was just 2 years ago. And so being able to be like her caregiver but still run a business that was profitable and benefit my clients, was amazing. It was amazing. So I kind of have always been an entrepreneur, or a solopreneur. And I've had, businesses where, I've had a full staff. I've had, 5 other attorneys and a staff of 11 people and, running payroll and managing an entire office. But for me, having the smaller firm and working as a solo has been a lot less stress and a lot more rewarding for those reasons.
Yeah, that's opposite. I had similar experiences, so I get it. What's been the biggest challenge in your journey, and how did you get through it?
Every day, I'm still working on it. The biggest challenge is when even as a solopreneur, you cannot do everything on your own, or you shouldn't do everything on your own. That's not scalable. But finding good people has always been a challenge. Like, I wish I could clone myself, because although I'm an attorney, my undergrad is in technology management, so I'm a techie gadget girl. Most attorneys aren't like really creative, but I write books, and I'm very creative. And so I really wish that I could clone all the aspects of me and have a full team. So that's been a challenge. Here recently, though, I kicked my tech background into gear. I've always been a gadget girl, and I've always still been really involved in tech. I was an operations manager, so being able to create standard operating procedures and optimize operations, I'm really good at. With the advancements that we have in technology, especially with AI, I've been able to start cloning myself as an AI. I can program AI agents to do tasks that it was taking forever. I was like pulling teeth trying to have an actual human being do. So that's been a real game changer for me. And I'm teaching my clients and showing my clients how they can do the same in their businesses.
Awesome. Awesome. So, what's a strategy you use to stand out from your competitors?
Have you seen the picture, or it may be a meme, of like the 4 or 5 ballerinas, and there's one that's hanging upside down and looks like she's having a good time, but she's totally the opposite? I guess that's my secret sauce. I've always done things that have been non-traditional or challenged the norm, was outside of the box, and went against the grain. I don't know if it's because I'm just a rebel, or it's just because I'm always looking for new, innovative solutions to things. But for me, I would say that's the one thing that stands out with me, and that I'm very transparent. When I have failures, when I have shortcomings, I'm the first one to say, well, that didn't work. Sorry. We have to go a different route. But I think that makes me unique and kind of gives me an advantage, because when everybody's going left, I'm going right. One particular example, I'm not afraid to live in my truth and do things differently. And I give keynote speeches and workshops, and I'm actually putting it in another book. I have a speech that I give called Permission Granted. And in that speech, I talk about the experience where I had went through a really tumultuous divorce, a diagnosis of lupus. Like, I was on the campaign trail running for judge for the first time. I lost everything. So losing the campaign, having a suicidal teenager, having a husband who had an affair with with the mistress that was very public while I'm running for judge, like everything that could happen happened. And so after that, all I kept thinking is, I just want to live life differently and to the fullest. And by then, my first best friend had died, like maybe a year and a half previous to that. And so I just was like, I just really want to live life fully. So I moved to South Florida from Kentucky. And I remember right before I went, one of the ladies in the her shop, it was an older lady. She had her curlers on, and I remember her sitting by the dryers, and she heard that I was going to move 1,000 miles away, and she said, "Oh, honey, you can't do that. Why would you want to do that?" And so that was kind of the sentiment of everyone around me. And I just kept thinking, well, there's a will, there's a way. If I'm strategic, I can do this. And so what she didn't say until I brought it out of her in conversation was that in her 78 or 80 years of living, she had never went more than an hour away from home. And that was only once or twice for like a church convention. And I'm like, you're missing the whole world. There's so much to explore. How about 2 hours away? So I knew I couldn't listen to her, and I couldn't let what she thought dictate what I did. So I had like a couple $1,000. I packed everything in my little SUV. I had my sister babysit my son until I could figure out where we were going. And I drove to Miami and moved to South Florida. And so about a year later, I had some attorneys who, had heard that maybe I had moved or was thinking about moving. So they tell me, that's not how we do law. Law firm, you have to have a firm. You have to have a place for your clients to come. How are you practicing? And this is never going to work. Little did they know that for a whole year, I flew back on Tuesdays, went to court, scheduled all my court dates on Wednesday, flew back on on Thursday, back to Florida, sometimes Friday, and I was still making money. I was still able to practice because I wasn't licensed in Florida. So I would fly to Kentucky where I was licensed. I would handle my clients virtually on video and phone. And it saved my clients time and money. It was convenient for them. They were happy. Cases were won. And voila, I had done it. So while they were telling me I couldn't do it, I had already been doing it for a year. So that's just a little taste of my personality and how I can come up with innovative strategies. And the funny thing is that after COVID, everybody has a virtual firm or some kind of facet or part of their business is virtual, and nobody thinks twice about it. I just was probably 10, 15 years ahead of my time because I was determined I was going to do what I was going to live life fully and on my own terms.
That's incredible. When in the 80s, I started my first marketing agency, and I had 6 women. I worked from home, and I had 6 women that did telemarketing calls from their home. It had not, nobody knew you could do that at that time. So
Yep.
I get it. You just gotta,
Yeah.
you do what you got to do to make it work.
And if it doesn't work, one of my sayings is and I've taught my son this, and this is what has gotten me through life, that every moment of every second of every day, you can change. You can do a about face, a 180, you can change your mind, you can change your direction. And so if I went to Florida and it didn't work out, I could come home. And I did end up having some issues because my son had mental health issues. So the first time I lived in Florida, I only stayed for about a year and a half. And then I came back home because I could. You can always fix it. You can always change.
Yes, we all have choices to make.
Yes.
Okay, so what industry trends do you think solopreneurs should be paying attention to?
Hands down, top of mind is AI. Many people are scared that AI is going to take over or AI is the devil and that AI is going to take their jobs. The honest to God truth is AI is not going to take your job. But the person who uses AI and knows how to master those skills and that tool, they're gonna far exceed you. And those are gonna be the ones that put you out of business. That's your true competition. With AI now, there are every day, it seems like last week especially, all of the big platforms were putting out, Google was putting out Gemini and VO and some of the things that they have. And like every platform was putting out new things that you could do, new ways that you could use their applications and updates and releasing different features. And the things that it can do, that you can do with that is just mind blowing. I showed my dad a video done with VO last night. And for those who don't know, VO3 is Google, and Google has Gemini, and VO 3 goes under that Gemini platform, but it can create lifelike videos. So one of the video I showed him, they were like, I'm an AI, I'm an AI. Oh my God, I can't believe. And like the background, the video, and my dad was looking, he said, everybody in this video is not a real person. They're all AI. And I was like, yo, Dad. He was like, but like if I saw this on TV, I would never, you would know. I mean, so just the technology is going so fast and so scary. One of the businesses that I own is AI law phone, and it has the capability to answer your phone for you. If you miss a call, it immediately will call the person back and speak to them as if they were a human in conversation, not an AI bot. It doesn't get stuck, like, and it can answer questions, calendar your clients for you. It can do your marketing. Like, there is so much that you can do, and that's not even, I haven't even added on extra features. Like, mine is just the phone and the lead generation or lead cultivation, but it can do so much if you can just learn how to use it, and sky's the limit with your creativity. So I think AI and being able to figure out how to prompt and how to, now they have vibe coding. You can just talk into it and tell it, hey, I want to build this. Can you do that for me? What questions do you need me to answer for you to fix this? And it does.
So I recently found an AI tool called famous.ai, that is an app builder. It does everything. So I've always wanted to create this app. So I asked ChatGPT to help me write the prompt to feed into famous.ai.
Yep. Yeah. I had a presentation that I was given about a month ago, and my presentation was on creating lead magnets, because nowadays it's expected that you're going to have a freebie, that you're going to give it away. But so many of the freebies are, you get what you pay for. And then you have some that are just magnificent that you want to hold on to and you actually use. And so I taught on what the difference is and how to create a lead magnet in under 2 hours. Well, not only did I create a lead magnet in under 2 hours and then personalized it and edited it for me, but I also created a whole website and I have like 10 different tools, and you can choose which tool that you want to download. And I mean, it does all of it, but I did all of that, creating the lead magnets, customizing them, and creating a website that would allow people to enter in their info and download my lead magnets. I mean, in under 2 hours. That is insane. I remember 2 or 3 years ago, that may be a week and you'd have to pay $5,000 to have somebody build the website for you, but there it was.
Yeah. It's amazing, really.
It is.
So are there any books, courses, or mentors that have made a big impact in your business?
My mentors come from the most unassuming places. It can be somebody who has no idea about business or law that would say just a nugget and didn't realize that they gave it to me. But I would say the book for me that I read that was life-changing, and ironically was right before I moved to Florida, was Tim Ferriss's 4-Hour Work Week. And there's a lot of people that say, oh, it's a crock, you can't live like that. But there are takeaways for people who do have a 9-to-5 that they can implement to make their 9-to-5 life better. But it's really intended to help people who are looking to kind of break out of that. And I think that book, it had a little bit of everything. I learned about time management and how to batch emails and how not to waste time with emails and unnecessary meetings, but still get things done. There's one story in there that resonates that I always go back to, where there was an MBA who went on vacation for the first time. He was overworked, maybe even underpaid, but he thought he was doing well. He goes to, I think it was Mexico or some tropical place, and he meets a guy who's chilling at the bar with his friends, playing the guitar and having a good time drinking beers. And he has a conversation with this guy. You know, what do you do? What does your day look like? And the guy's like, I get up, my wife cooks breakfast, I kiss the kids and see them off to school. And when they, I go out, and I'm a fisherman, so I do some fishing. I sell what I have at the market, take some home to the family. I'm home in time to do homework with the kids, have dinner, and then when everybody's in bed, my wife's doing her thing and my kids are in bed, I come hang out with my guys and we play the guitar and make music and laugh and drink beers. And so the MBA tells him, you know what? You could take that fishing business and you could do this. If you work double hard, then you can get 2 boats, then you can get 3, then you can get a fleet, then you can go public, then you can sell it. So he was like, okay, so what's the point of that? Well, so that you can live your life like a vacation, so you can spend time with your wife and your kids and be home for dinner and go hang out with your guys at night. And the guys looking at him like, I think you have life backwards. I mean, so there were so many nuggets and gems in that book that's one that I gifted a lot, and I go back and read it a lot. That, and probably I'm a believer, so before that one would also be the Bible, because I feel the same way about Proverbs. There are so many nuggets in there that I go back and read it and I'm like, well, that makes sense. And it was written centuries ago, but it makes sense. So
Yeah. Awesome. All right. What daily habits or routines help you to stay focused and productive?
One, I enjoy what I do. So I'm always working, but busyness is not always business and it's not always productive. I think for me, I have to gamify stuff. So with a lupus diagnosis, you also get brain fog, and it mimics like ADHD. So it's hard to concentrate, but when you do, then you are super focused. For me, putting systems in place, like I have to-do lists, I have an electronic calendar, but I also every night look at my electronic calendar and physically write out and plan, these are the things I need to do in my day so that I don't miss anything. And then setting up systems, like not checking my email at a certain time so that I'm not obsessed with, a new email came in, a new text message came in, but being able to batch those tasks and to automate what I can, I think those are the things that really help me. And I try to tell my clients, also not being super dependent. I know I said technology is a game changer, and it is. I'm still old school. Like if you write it, it helps stick. Yep. So even if I have something in electronic form, all of my clients' files, I have an electronic version, and then I have a paper version, because if the paper version, something happens to it, I got my backup. And if it's online, if I have it in the cloud, or on a drive, then I have it there too. So I've had times when I've had clients who have lost stuff, or, your computer breaks and you don't have backups for anything. So those are things that really help me.
That's great. Writing it down, it like seals it in your brain.
It does. That and speaking it out loud. Sometimes actually reading out loud. Okay, this is what I have to do today. Nikki, you can do this. At 9 o'clock, we're doing this. At 10 o'clock. Yeah. If I do it at nighttime, it really helps, so that when I wake up, I don't have to think about it. Like it's written, I've already planned it out. I can rest easy, and my mind is not going completely in the middle of the night.
Great advice. So what's something you know now that you wish you knew when you started your business?
It's okay to fail. It's okay to fail. That most successful people are admired from the outside. And we see someone who's highly successful, and they look like, because we didn't see the iceberg of their journey, we only saw the tip. We think, well, where did they come from? There was I did a panel on a webinar about a week ago, and we were discussing a young man who was 23, and he turned down a deal with Amazon Prime and Netflix. Because he was like, I'm going to do it my way. He looks like he's an overnight success. Why is Netflix and Amazon giving him millions of dollars in a contract, offering it, and why would he turn it down? So all of a sudden, people who didn't know about him knew about him. What they didn't know is that from the age of 12 or 13, he was building a business consistently every day. Nobody sees the grind.
Right.
We all, you want to have everything perfect, but it doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to happen. So you don't have to have all the bells and the whistles, you don't have to do everything right. What do you need to actually have a business, be productive and serve your clients? And that's what you need to focus on.
Absolutely. Okay. Do you have any exciting projects or launches coming up that you'd like to share?
Well, I kind of already shared my newest launch. So I am a serial entrepreneur, and the way that I help different people is in different ways. The two most recent things that I've launched hasn't necessarily been like a new launch, more so really niching down or focusing on the ways that I help my clients. So one is I have a business, Second Chair Legal. So when you go to trial, the first chair is the person that stands up, asks the questions, that does the work. They're the ones that you see. But the most important is the second chair, because they're the ones that's keeping an eye on the jury and their reactions, taking notes, passing to the first chair, telling them what to ask in trial. And many times in business, business owners know how to do whatever service their business offers. They know their product well, but they don't know the back end. They're scared of the legal. They're scared to set up the accounting. They're not really sure how to get leads and do marketing, but they know how to do their part of the business.
Right.
And so attorneys are no different. So I have Second Chair Legal, where I do the back end, the advising, the mentoring, helping them get their systems up. So the flagship product for that business is an AI product called AI Law Phone. And so with AI Law Phone, it gives attorneys the capability to have communication with their clients, because one of the number one bar complaints against attorneys is, I never heard from them, bad communication, I didn't get a letter, they didn't tell me, I wanted to ask questions, they couldn't return my call, because attorneys are focused on what they do best, not the other piece. So
Right.
that's one of my solutions that I've launched. And so that one is very recent. That product has just got completed this week and got up and out there. So I'm excited about that. But I'm also looking to, but I also started executivelegaladvisor.com, which also encompasses executive legal hotline. That's for the small businesses and medium businesses, although corporate can use it as well, that can have an attorney that's on call if they don't have like in-house counsel, or they don't have an attorney that works for them, or even if they do and they need a little bit of help, I come in. They have access to me either through the advisory services or through the hotline, where they can ask, hey, we just had this happen. I'm not sure what to do. What do we do? Whether it's business or legal, because I do advising on both. And then I do corporate trainings. I'll come in, I'll teach their staff, how to think like an attorney, how to protect your business, how to put in automations and optimize their operations. So those are my two big babies right now in what I'm doing.
That's awesome. Okay. Where can people connect with you and learn more about what you do?
So my overall site is NicoleCompton.com. That's Nicole with an H. Again, I recently got married. So if you're an individual looking to either start a business or pivot out of your corporate role, but still be able to keep your credentials, your credibility, and use your expertise in another way, as an entrepreneur or a business owner, or you're a business owner who kind of feels like you're all over the place and kind of needs that business coaching, that legal advising, you can go to NicoleSheltonCoach.com. And so I have a whole program set up over there. And then I also, again, I have the executivelegaladvisor.com. And if you're an attorney, secondchairlegal.com. And it's the number 2, indeed, chairlegal.com.
Awesome. Okay, folks, we'll put all of that in the show notes so you don't have to
Thank
try to
you.
write it all down.
And you can just call. You can just call
Well,
me.
yeah, there's that too.
So that one's 502-509-7002. That's the main office.
Awesome. Okay. Nicole, it's been a pleasure. I've really enjoyed our conversation. Thank you for being a guest.
Thank you for having me. I really enjoyed our conversation, Donna.
Thank you.